Hey, not going to forget today, Todd Whitehead. Make you do it for me. I'm starting Alpha Geek Media right now. Look at that.
Nice.
Woo! I'm I'm an adult. I can remember to push a button.
Those Night Attack Chuckleheads left theirs on all night, so I had to reset.
Oh, did they? I'm pretty good. I'm like 99% good about remembering to return them.
Yeah, I shouldn't.
I've forgotten a few times.
I'm like 3 or 4 times too. So
I've got like 3 9s, I think. Also, Showbot Reminder reminded me in the chat room, and that definitely helped.
Good old Showbot Reminder.
Oh, good old Showbot Reminder. So, hey, Scott.
Hey, Tom.
I had an idea.
What's that?
Let's not do the show.
Oh, hey, all right. Let's play Hearthstone or
another
Blizzard game. Let's do that.
I think you were supposed to try to talk me out of it.
Now that I think about it, since we're here, let's just do a show.
We should do the show anyway? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Here we go.
The Daily Tech News Show with Tom Merritt is powered by Patreons like you. From 5 cents to $50, every contribution helps Tom and company produce fresh episodes of essential tech news. To learn more and support the show, visit patreon.com/acedetect. And thanks for listening.
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, September 2nd, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me as he does most Wednesdays, Mr. Scott Johnson, Chief of the Frog Pants, host of the Morning Stream, host of The Instance, man about Salt Lake City. How are you, Scott Johnson?
I am happily the man about Salt Lake City today. It is beautiful here, and it is beautiful there, and what better time than now? Who better people than us to make a show on a Wednesday about technology? Dang it.
So here's what's going to happen, folks. We're going to spend the next half hour, 40 minutes, talking about tech news. Now, usually what we do is we read you the headlines. That takes us about 20 minutes. And then we find a topic either out of the headlines or something, that's on our minds that day to explore a little more deeply. But we got so many good emails from folks, and we've done this once before, that we're just going to go straight from the headlines, which are full of good news from IFA. So we got plenty to talk about there. And we're going to go right into your emails. Now, the last time we did it was Friday, Scott. It was Fan Mail Friday. So I was trying to think of a good way to talk about doing this for a Wednesday. Is it Sunbutt in the chat room recommended WTF Wednesday for
right.
What? The Fan Mail Wednesday?
Okay. All right. We'll hold that one up there. Do we like that one? Is it okay?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of like it. I might be the only one. Sunbutt and I may be the only ones. Maybe it's What's Up Wednesday. That was suggested by our producer, Jenny, who is an adult, and probably the one we will go with.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, let's start the headlines. The Verge reports on Acer's new modular PC called the Revo Build series. The first core block that will be issued is called the M1601. It's a 2.2-inch tall, 4.92 by 4.92-inch brick with a Celeron or Pentium processor inside, up to 8 gigabytes of RAM, 3 USB 3.0 ports, HDMI DisplayPort, SD card reader, and a headphone mic combo jack. That's it. You just get that at the base. Then what they'll do is sell you modules. This reminds me of what the TI 99.4a was like. They'll sell you modules so you can add like a 500 gigabyte or terabyte hard drive, a wireless charging dock, a speaker, a GPU, a projector, and a separate microphone. The M1601 goes on sale in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa in October for 199 euros, and then hits China in December for 1,999 yuan. No word on price or release dates for other modules. That's we got a price and release for the base module, but if you want to add a hard drive, you have to wait for more details.
This reminds me of that modular phone that we were supposed to get that got delayed.
Oh yeah, Project Ara.
Yes, it reminds me of that. And when I saw this pop this morning in some tech news I was reading, I was surprised that this didn't already exist, that we haven't already tried to figure out a way to Lego together different components of a computer, because it seems like we've been at this long enough that would make a bunch of sense, and it would eliminate a lot of headache on the part of both user and manufacturer. The only downside here, obviously, is you don't have as much customization as you might like if you're a big-time PC aficionado and you're trying to build out the most custom gaming rig or whatever it is you might be building. But the idea that they're going to offer a projector module says a lot about what I think they're aiming for here, or what market they want, and that is a business market that wants easy, fast, switchable, portable solution that will let them take these things on the road and do presentations and use them for things other than, high-end gaming or video processing or something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely not for high-end gaming. I've read that the target is emerging markets where people don't have a lot of money to spend on a full-on desktop computer, so they can start by just getting the base and a couple modules and go from there. In that case, maybe the projector is, hey, you don't have to buy an external display. Just get the projector module and you can use it wherever you are.
Yeah, I would this would be something I would consider if, let's say you're just doing a whole lot of traveling and you had to do a lot of sort of meeting with people in conference rooms and small places and being able to pull up something really quickly. And I've seen photos of it. It looks like it's relatively small and easy to kind of move around.
I'm not thinking of this for travel at all. Well, just get a laptop with a portable projector, and you're a lot lighter weight than
that's a good point. But imagine a box where at home, or not necessarily at home, at the home office, and again, this is not something I think I would want personally. But I think if you're at your home office and you've got 3 stacks, that's the CPU base unit, the hard drive, and I don't know what else, some other thing. But then you're like, I'm going on the road. All I need is the base unit and the projector. Pop, put it on. There's something appealing about it.
Still need a hard drive, though.
That's a good point. I guess you can't take the drive off.
It's interesting, yeah. And it'll be interesting to see how this does get used if it does. It's not the first time someone's tried a modular PC before. It just hasn't caught on before. And I think what Acer's gambling on is right now, PC sales are not strong, so you need to do something different, and that introduces it to an audience that doesn't have a lot to spend to begin with, to maybe carve out a niche for sales. And that approach seems very wise to me. Whether this will work or not, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, we'll have to see. They seem to be going after folks like NVIDIA Shield and some others with some of the products they debuted. Their new gaming screens look really nice. So Acer trying to do new things, and I think I like that. Even if this is something I wouldn't buy, I like that someone's out there fiddling around with this stuff. Sony officially announced its Android 5.1.1 Xperia Z5 family of phones, including the previously leaked Z5 Premium, which is a 4K. Oh, that's not a phone. Which is a 4K screen along with the Z5 and Z5 Compact. Z5 is a 5.5-inch 3840 by 2160 display. That's pretty good. The Z5 has a 5.2-inch 1080p display. I'm guessing there's a decent cost difference there. And the Z5 has a 4.7-inch 420 display, 420p that is. The Z5 also has a new 1.5.3 or a 0.3-inch Exmor. Am I saying that right? Exmor, I think. RS 23 megapixel image sensor. The Z5 and Z5 Compact will be available in October, and the Z5 Premium in November. Zippo word on price.
Yeah. Phones with 4K, just like that guy said in the leaked video the other day. So here we go. Sony banking on their superior sensors. That's one thing that they're good at, and then putting a 4K screen on one.
Well, 4K by one definition. I mean, look, the problem I have with 4K is that it floats. Its definition floats around. It's a bit like 4G was when 4G was all the rage. I think
just because it's 3840, that's 4K enough. That rounds up to 4K.
Enough? I mean, don't you want to see, like, when you see 1080p, you get a 1080 in there, right? Wouldn't you like to see 4,000?
What do you want him to say? 3.8 4K?
No, I don't. But I guess all I'm saying is a standard is a standard, and nobody seems to have one right.
No, I think this is the standard. I think the standard accounts for rounding up. But that aside, I don't see a 4K screen even at 3.8 4K. It's really compelling me to want to buy a Sony phone, and Sony really needs something compelling to make people want to buy their phone.
Well, their focus on displays and on camera sensors is kind of a big deal, and Sony, like you said, is known for good camera sensors. They have a huge market tied up with that. My iPhone has a Sony camera sensor in it, and lots of Android phones do, so if they can continue to dominate all those markets and introduce their own phone, kind of just get a little piece of the pie they're already sort of meddling in, well, why not? I think that's good for them.
As promised, Intel released more details about its 6th-generation processor series codenamed Skylake, with several series ranging from a base 4.5-watt thermal design power for ultra-thin machines, all the way up to a 91-watt Xeon for workstations. Among the new series is the Y series with the new Core M processors. These not Core M is new, but these are new processors in the Core M series, meant for convertibles, tablets, and compute sticks. Intel promises its newly named M3, M5, and M7 processors will deliver twice the performance of the best tablet today. And The Verge notes a feature in Skylake called Speed Shift, which can move performance management from the OS to the processor, thus reducing processing speed adjustments. If it realizes it needs to crank up its clock speed, it can do it in a millisecond. And usually, from an operating system, it takes around 30 milliseconds.
That's a huge increase. I mean, I know it's marginal by our own telling of time, but in computer world, that's 30 times better than it used to be.
Exactly. Snappy is what we call it in the non-computer world.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so snappy. Why is that? Well, there you go.
Well, there you have it. Bring on Skylake, I say. Laptop Magazine reports Lenovo, speaking of new computers, has updated its line of Yoga convertibles that can work as laptops, tablets, or intent mode. You've seen that where they kind of just make a little upside-down V. Both new models come with the Intel Skylake processors, SSDs, improved fingerprint reader, and the ThinkPad Pen Pro active stylus. Is there still no word on the nub? Is there a nub?
There's a nub. There is a thing.
There's a nub. All right, well, there's something there that's like a nub, and that's all I care about.
It's nub-like.
Sounds like a Star Wars character. The Yoga 260 has a 12.5-inch display, weighs 2.9 pounds, and is a 0.7 inches thick is all, which is super thin. The Yoga 460 has a 14.1-inch display, 3.9 pounds, and 0.74 inches thick. Both Yogas come in silver or black this November, with the 260 starting at $949 and the 460 starting at $1,049. And those sound pretty tight to me. I like Lenovo a lot, but do you feel a little weird about a Lenovo not being black all the time?
Silver ThinkPad. I know it's a ThinkPad Yoga, but still. Yeah. Heresy, I say. My T42 here is cringing at the idea of having one of its descendants, I guess, be...
Does that still have Windows 10 on it, or did you put Linux on there?
No, that's got XP on it.
Oh, it's the older one, right?
Yeah, that's circa 2008, I think. Among Lenovo's many other announcements were a ThinkPad E560 with a 720p Intel RealSense camera. That's the one that can do motion capture and 3D scanning. The laptop is coming in November for $549, according to the Next Web. And Ars Technica, understandably, compares the IdeaPad Miix, it's got two I's, I don't know how to say it, MIIX 700, to a Microsoft Surface Pro. The Miix is a 12-inch tablet with a kickstand and detachable keyboard, but unlike the current Surface Pro, the Miix has a Skylake Core M7 inside it. The Surface Pro has a Haswell right now. The Miix 700 also has two USB ports and a micro HDMI port, a rear-facing Intel RealSense 3D camera, so it doesn't do the facial recognition stuff. The Miix 700 will ship in November, starting at $699.
I really don't like the name of it at all, but
Miix.
I really like the idea of a scanner that could give me, even if it's rudimentary and kind of low end, a 3D scanner is more and more something useful for somebody.
Oh, on the E560, yeah.
Yeah.
That RealSense, front-facing RealSense camera, not the rear-facing one.
Yeah.
That can do the 3D scanning.
Yeah.
They can do some cool like face to unlock stuff apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
do some cool basic stuff and get those into some kind of CAD app and make it print, man.
Listen, man, if you're into fast new processors like Skylake, whatever Windows 10 is capable of doing in a new generation of machines, IFA is Wonderland for you, because it's all about PCs and watches, and the laptop PCs that they're talking about and tablets are all using Skylake and Windows 10.
Well, Yahweh, am I saying that right? Huawei? Huawei!
Just Huawei. It's not that hard. Come on, try it.
I'm Huawei.
And not probably not saying it right either.
You're probably not. Anyway, Huawei has a couple of IFA announcements as well. Man, everything's coming up IFA this week. The Huawei watch goes on sale officially in the U.S. on September 17th with models from $350 to $800 U.S. VentureBeat notes stainless steel and black models are available for pre-order right now, with a rose gold model coming later this year. Everybody wants in on the gold. Reuters reports the Huawei announcement includes a high-end phone called the Mate S. It has a 5.5-inch display, 13-megapixel rear camera, fingerprint security, and Force Touch. The Mate S will sell for €649 and 748 let's see, models in 30 countries across Europe, China, Japan, Israel. All of this starts on September 15th. Does that not beat? That will beat anything Apple's doing with Force Touch on a phone to market.
Yes, likely, unless they start selling it a week later after September 9th.
Yeah.
Apple has an announcement September 9th. We assume they'll announce new iPhones. We bet that they're going to have Force Touch. So they'd have 6 days to put that new iPhone in people's hands, which is unlikely. That I don't know that will happen. Well, it could. It's not impossible. They've done quick turnarounds like that before, but my guess is they won't.
They won't. In this case, if they weren't already planning to, and the last few releases would show that they're not going to turn on a dime just because of this announcement.
And my guess is they don't care.
Yeah,
they're probably like, yeah, Huawei, whatever.
Yeah,
that's not our threat. Well, and this is the interesting thing here to me is that Huawei is moving into a high-end market and trying to compete with the likes of an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy S.
Here's my question, and this is maybe naive of me, but I thought Force Touch was a trademarked thing Apple was using as a marketing term.
If you're talking trademark, I don't know if Huawei is actually calling it Force Touch, and I don't know if Apple has a trademark on the word Force Touch, but it's definitely the same type of system. What could be interesting is if there's a patent on it, and whether Huawei had to license that, or we're going to see another patent lawsuit.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. The Verge reports Google announced new features for its productivity apps. Dictation for Google Docs supports 40 languages and requires no training. You just talk and it recognizes. It's available across iOS, Android, and the web. Android users get the ability to search for text or images in a split window when they're using Google Docs now, and they can tap to insert a result from that search into their doc. Then there's See Changes, a new button that highlights changes made since the last time you opened the doc. And Docs, Sheets, and Slides are all getting new templates. Sheets has a new feature called Explore, which creates charts automatically from data. It did a little bit of that now, but it's much more expanded. So yeah, lots of new features for the folks who work in Google Drive.
I am jazzed about dictation because I was promised in the mid-'90s by, I don't remember the name of the company, but Microsoft was pushing it a bunch, and they were supposed to, maybe it was Dragon. Anyway, they were supposed to be the end-all, be-all. You're going to be able to dictate your entire letter / email / document, whatever you had to say. You could just talk the whole thing out, and it never worked well, and it was always kind of garbage. And now it just kind of snuck up on me. Even though we've had digital assistants, voice assistants for years now, it's finally to a place where I can comfortably and reliably and confidently talk to my computer, and it will fill a doc full of what I say. That's great. We should be celebrating in the streets, Tom.
Let's do it.
We're here.
I'll start a doc where we can plan our street celebration.
We've arrived.
Yeah. I can't wait to try this. I rarely ever even think to use voice recognition on my laptop, but this might change my mind.
Well, and there's still that question.
Because I used to use that thing you were talking about, and I can't remember the name. I don't know if it was Dragon Naturally Speaking back then, but there was something I was using to control Windows 3.1.
Yeah, there's still
you had to train it, though.
There's still this issue of talking out loud to a thing in groups or in an airport or something.
Yeah, that's true.
People aren't sure they're ready to do that. But anyway, Amazon in the news. They've added 11 more brands to its Dash Buttons program Wednesday morning. These are the little buttons you can stick next to your washer or dryer and say, I'm all out of Tide. Boop, hit it and it'll reorder it. New additions include Icebreakers Mint. I go through a lot of those. Orbit Gum. Greenie's Dog Products. You use any of that?
No, they make my dog throw up.
All right. I don't think we've ever used it on ours. But I'll take that note. Push a button to make your dog throw up is what this is. Hefty trash and storage bags, Ziploc, and Optimum Nutritious Gold Standard, 100% whey protein.
Because you need to reorder that, apparently.
I hope that's a big button that's like all wide and has that whole phrase on there. That'd be amazing. Amazon will also refund the $4.99 cost of the button with the first purchase. Customers who already bought these buttons will get a credit with their next purchase. Amazon Dash buttons are available for 29 different brands representing over 500 products. I still don't know how I feel about these, but there they are, and they're coming fast.
Apparently the people who buy them love them. I still feel like they should just give them to me.
Yeah.
Like maybe I just order a product and then they throw in the button for free rather than making me pay. It seems weird to pay and then get a credit back. At least they're putting the credit though. So
yeah, there's money involved in making these things, but
sure.
that's $5.
Pays for itself after the first few orders. Wired's Tim Moynihan reports Motorola announced a refreshed line of Moto 360 watches Wednesday. The new Moto 360s come in 42mm and 46mm sizes, and there's a variation to the 42mm meant for women that accommodates slimmer watch bands with the little lugs in there. Motorola now rates its battery at 2 days, promises more accurate heart rate and sleep sensors, and both watches are available to connect through Wi-Fi as well. Watches range from $300 to $430, can be designed and pre-ordered today, and they'll ship in late September. Also, the Next Web reports Moto X Pure Edition was announced. That's a phone available for pre-order today for $399, shipping in mid-September.
I like those Moto devices and phones. I think they're pretty good. It's nice to see they still want to, I don't know. The watch market is still, I think, a dubious one as to whether or not it's the long-lasting thing everyone hopes it is, but it's nice to see that, it's not just Apple and one or two other brands that are banking on it.
Connect directly by Wi-Fi. I like that. That means I only need my phone to make a phone call, which sort of makes sense to me, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, you're no Dick Tracy, Tom.
Been told that before.
Neither am I. Zagman76 pointed us to a TechCrunch article that Google will start downranking some sites that display giant app install ads when you click through to their site on mobile. I also hate those. Starting November 1st, any install interstitials, is what they're calling them, that hide a significant amount of content on the transition from the search result page, these are all quotes, by the way, will lose their, quote, mobile-friendly, unquote, status in mobile search rankings. That is a painful thing in these days of mobile increased searching. This won't affect sites that are standard app install banners seen in Chrome and Safari.
It's not every single one of them, just the ones that take over your screen. Although, some folks have pointed out that several Google products, like, Gmail, do this. They take over your whole screen with a thing that says get the app.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. Hulu launched a mostly commercial-free version of their service on Wednesday for $12 a month. That's $4 more than the usual $8 a month. Viewers can see no commercials in most shows and movies. Exceptions are a few shows. They list 7 from ABC and Fox that Hulu says it doesn't have the rights to stream commercial-free. Also, Hulu users who authenticate with pay TV providers will still have to watch commercials on shows that would not be available without the authentication. Thanks to Hermith for the submission of this on subreddit. This is mostly commercial free. Even the ones that they don't have the licenses for right now, they'll only do pre-roll and post-roll. So through the middle of the show, you won't have commercials.
Well, that's enough for me to have bitten and done it today.
You signed up, I know.
In fact, while we were talking, I signed up this morning on TMS, and I thought they're finally doing the thing that I always had said would make Hulu valuable to me again, and now I'm in, and I don't mind a 15-second at the top, and I don't mind a 30 at the end, and I know there are some people who are like, well, if you're paying for it, you shouldn't get any. But then again, on Netflix, I'm getting 15-second, usually promotions of their own shows, but still.
I never get those. Never.
Get those. I get them all the time. I shouldn't say all the time. I get them.
And frankly, I'm so used to that on Amazon and HBO, I don't consider those commercials. That's different than something trying to sell me soap.
Yeah, exactly. So if they're selling me soap for 15 seconds, I guess I'm a little less excited about that than I am about them telling me about their hot new exclusive series. But on the whole, I think that's great. Also, you coined the phrase Hoolers today. I think that's what people who use Hulu should be called. They're Hoolers.
Are you a Hooler?
Yeah.
Sure am. That's how I'm watching Empire. That's actually how we watched Empire. I know you're going to start that.
I've been wanting to watch Empire forever because of you and your wife, and you guys have said how great it is, and I've had no real way to watch it as an unplugger. Now I have a way. So
we had to watch constant commercials.
Oh, man. The sacrifices you made for me.
All right. What are you going to tell us about Google?
Oh, check this out. Google. Sorry. I dumped something on the floor. It's great radio when that happens. Google will unveil its new Nexus smartphones in San Francisco at an event September 29th. According to CNET sources, one model will supposedly be built by LG, who created the Nexus 4 and 5, while the second larger handset will be built by Huawei.
Well, there you go. They'll get some sales out of that.
That's interesting, splitting it between the two. I guess they've done it before, though. That's not that unusual, right?
Rumor, but seems legit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm waiting for that invite to come out September 29th. But, yeah, LG's done it before. Moving closer to Huawei makes sense. I believe this will end up proving to be true.
Well, there you go.
Finally, BB Powers sent us the Mashable report about a man who connected 54 propellers to a lawn chair and used it to fly briefly. The as yet unnamed man calls his flying machine the Swarm. He controls it with a remote that he got at Hobby King. His cockpit consists of the lawn chair I mentioned and an umbrella, and he wore his best purple shoes with black socks because he is that cool.
Wow. When they say, doesn't say how brief the briefly was, does it?
You can watch the video. It's a few seconds.
All right. You know what?
He goes up in the air and then he comes back down.
Look, when mankind does not just leap into great new innovations, we take small baby steps, damn it, and this is what's happened here, and my hat's off to this guy.
Yeah. My propeller hat is off to that guy. Hey, don't forget, we get a lot of this news from you. A big majority of it comes from the fact that we look at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com to see what you folks have been voting on. So get in there and do some voting or even some submitting at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Join the 5,000 plus people who help create the show. All right, like we said, it's What's Up Wednesday. That feels good. I like that. Where we're just going to read emails from experts in our audience. You folks are smart. You've got good ideas, good suggestions, and in some cases, inside knowledge here. Tyler in Please Can We Get a Little Rain, New Jersey, regarding Apple possibly making original content, so what Patrick Beja and I were talking about yesterday, says, look at Apple's ads. Their advertisements suggest that Apple could at least achieve a successful launch of something with creative, engaging content and might be able to achieve some kind of game-changing launch of something unexpected. Now, Tyler says the question is, and he thinks Apple is asking itself this question right now, will Apple risk its brand pursuing those, because they've occasionally had some ads that didn't work out so well. And then Simon thinks Apple is going to produce a set of news, current documentaries, something of the gravitas of Jon Stewart interviews, but across news, fashion, gaming, music, and popular culture. Simon says this way there is a continual stream of new content. Scott, what do you think? First of all, that Simon idea sounds good, but I'm really intrigued by Tyler's question of, and he's not the first person to say this, that Apple doing original content would threaten their brand somehow.
Well, potentially, let's say it's not that great. Well, then you've got a problem on your hands like Powers with PlayStation and Sony, and that wasn't that great. It was okay. It was
Sony still sell lots of PlayStations.
They sure are, and I maintain that the core buying audience doesn't care that much whether that's a flop or a success. But when you're talking about a big new push or initiative, to me it's like, well, what if Netflix blew it with Orange is the New Black or with House of Cards? What if those were just bad shows? We wouldn't think of Netflix in the arena we think of them now. We think of them in a place of prestige, and it's as good as a network, and they get nods for Emmys, and all these things happen now, and we wouldn't have had that had they not failed. So there's a risk there, but I think it's a risk Apple's willing to take. I'm actually more interested in Simon's suggestion of how they'll actually launch something, and it just clicked with me, and I actually think Simon's onto something. Moreover, I think it's the model Apple Music just used, and that is the Beats One model, and that is, let's make something that is on all the time, happening all the time. For all I know, they may even put cameras in the Beats studios and beam that stuff to your Apple TV 24/7.
That would be a show. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, if not 24/7, you could do that for an hour a day.
Exactly. A lot of radio stations do this. A lot of national radio stations do this. So I'm not saying that'll be it for sure, but everybody who thinks, oh, they're going to launch with some huge 12-episode epic, I think we would have heard long before about this. There would have been all this production that would have leaked. There's no way we're getting that. That's too much work, too much pain. They may get to it eventually. They certainly have the money. I think instead what we see is something akin to what Simon's suggesting, which is a bunch of programming that is interview style. That's a lot like podcasting, maybe in some ways, some variety there, but nothing that takes years of production and hundreds of millions of dollars of money.
Yeah, if you look at what they've done with music videos, with those iTunes albums, they have a very particular aesthetic to them. It's almost not a college radio, because it's more polished than that, but a KCRW, like an experimental, cutting edge radio aspect of it, and that's what Beats has sort of emulated as well. They've carried that through. So the TV analog of that would be something along the lines of what current TV tried to be and just couldn't make stick for long enough to stay on the air. Maybe Apple can, because it doesn't have to deal with distribution and ratings, and they could just as long as they're selling Apple TVs, that's all they would care about.
Yeah, and moreover, you still have all the other content, hopefully, that you're paying a subscription for, if that's the model to go with, or however we're going to get the other licensed movies, TV shows, and everything else. So you're going to have the same sort of arrangement. They'll just have this extra little piece, and down the road they make, original content that's more series-based or single movie-based or whatever. And they have the money to do it. The question is, do they have the creative will to make it happen?
Interesting idea. By the way, Dark Redeemer called it "What's the Word" Wednesdays.
Ooh, I kind of like that too.
Kind of like that because it gets an extra W in there. We have arrived, Scott Johnson. Daily Tech News Show has its own person familiar with the matter. We've actually had a person familiar with the matter on backbone and networking issues before, but we have another one. So the two means you've arrived, right? A person familiar with the matter at Nielsen wrote us and asked to remain anonymous, but explained that Nielsen as a ratings company has pulled away from putting their name on things, so odds are you see reports with data from Nielsen in them more times than you realize. For the U.S. TV ratings data, they pull data already from phone use, things like apps used, videos watched, PC samples, websites visited, video sites viewed. If you ever remember hearing about Nielsen Net Ratings, that's the company that started doing that Nielsen acquired. With TV sampling, the equipment is hardwired. He said it's not microphones. No microphones are ever used. The equipment pulls the timestamp and the network broadcast codes off of the audio streams. And he pointed out other data projects induce homes that scan or include homes that they don't induce. They include homes that scan groceries that they bring into the home along with other items they buy for the house. He says the surveys are endless. They keep on coming.
So it's just less brand name. So now we know that Nielsen. Whatever. The data comes from so many sources now that they probably are okay to be in the background as long as all the they're getting money for what they're doing, and that's fine with me. I don't need to be like when we were young. It was like Nielsen ratings. That seemed like the giant stamp of approval, like the Microsoft quality seal or whatever. But now
Intel Inside.
Yeah, we don't care anymore. We know, we get it. There's a chip in there. It's making it run. We're fine.
And the thing that gets me about Nielsen when people criticize it, there's lots to criticize about Nielsen. For instance, they bought Arbitron, and I never liked Arbitron much when I was in radio. But the thing about Nielsen is people say, oh, well, how can you tell anything from 5,000 homes? You're insulting the entire profession of statistics when you say that. You can tell a lot if you do it right. And what this guy is saying is they do a lot more than just rate television, and their main business is collecting reliable data and providing it to people willing to pay for reliable data. And they wouldn't keep paying for it if it wasn't somewhat reliable. So as much as there is to criticize about Nielsen, and believe me, there is a lot, especially in the TV ratings industry, I think they become a bit of a punching bag undeservedly. So I'm glad that he wrote in and said, hey, we're also doing all this other stuff, and we rate apps, and we collect a lot more data than you think.
I've never heard a good, outside the digital realm, I've never heard anybody offer a solution for standard television tracking and that kind of data collection that's anything better than what Nielsen's always given us. So every time they have a complaint about that, I'm like, all right, well, what would you do in the analog world? And they don't have a good answer. So it feels like it's kind of the best you can do with what we have.
We relied on Nielsen Net Ratings when I was at Tech TV. That was our bread and butter, right? That was Nielsen. Garen wrote to point out that when we were talking about Nintendo's partnership with Amazon for buying digital copies of games yesterday, we did not mention that you can buy codes for digital downloads of games on Amazon for PlayStation and Xbox as well. Good point. But the discussion got Garen thinking, since recent rumors have been that the Nintendo NX might not have a disc ecosystem. It might be diskless. Garen writes, could this Amazon story be Nintendo testing the digital distribution waters, as they may need to provide retailers with the means to sell digital games in their next console cycle? Maybe it's a coincidence, but I just thought it was slightly out of the blue for this to suddenly happen.
I am in complete agreement with him. I don't like to get conspiratorial. I'll call this more theory crafting here, but Nintendo's relationship has been rocky and pokey with Amazon. There's a reason you can't buy hardware there, because a long time ago, for those who may remember this and those who don't, there was a big rift between the two companies. There were some problems with the DS Lite's cases a number of years ago, and they were cracking. And people were like, well, I want my money back, or I want a new one, or whatever. And Nintendo was really slow to work with Amazon to fulfill those replacements. Because of that, they severed their ties and quit selling that hardware. You can still get games and other stuff, but no more hardware there. And that's been true all the way up through the Wii and all the way up through the Wii U. You just can't get it on Amazon. So this, to me, supports the idea, the big rumor, that Nintendo's NX will be a diskless system or a cartridgeless system. And it does make sense that the biggest online retailer in the world might want to get back in bed with Nintendo on this and make that happen. So I actually think Garen is right on the money, and this leads, at the very least, leads credence to the idea that the NX is trying to be forward-thinking about storage and not actually be a disk-based system anymore.
No X. No disk. NX.
Oh, look at that.
I'm going to call it no disk because diskless can easily lead to trouble.
You pronounced that very carefully, I noticed.
Very, very carefully. Scott writes, different Scott than this Scott. Last week, the FDA approved Dexcom's continuous glucose monitor that can send glucose levels to a smartphone, where previously it was only able to send it to a separate device that was smartphone-sized, but couldn't do anything else but receive the data. Scott says, as a type 1 diabetic myself who has recently been looking into a monitor like this, the idea that I could eventually simply look at my wrist, like if this made it to smartwatches, he's saying, and know exactly what my glucose level is, would make a smartwatch an easy buy.
Well, it seems to me that this is just going to happen naturally, because if it's approved to happen to an app, then apps can be made for phones. So it
right?
can,
Hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, you're there. I mean, it's basically just a matter of a company saying we're making the app or not.
And that's a great use for a smartwatch that I would never have thought of. Thank you, Scott, for writing in with that. Mike forwarded us an email he got from Roku announcing that they will no longer update software or channels for the classic Roku player, the ones that were made before May 2011. Pour a little out for the old Netflix, the Roku Netflix player, as it was once called. They do offer owners of that classic player a 20% discount in that email. Mike adds, I knew it was coming, but it's sad. I bought my first Roku in October of 2010, and it's still working. I also own 2 other Roku boxes.
Roku is the only box I own that hasn't given me some kind of problem. The Fire TVs that I own, I have to reboot every once in a while because I get weird lag and hitching. I don't know what that's about. No firmware updates have fixed it. It kind of sucks because otherwise I think those are fine devices. My Apple TV is similar issues, especially with the HBO app, just issues where it causes me to, go out to the main menu. So I have to just give them credit on 2 fronts here. One, for being the most reliable of all these set-tops I've had, but that's a really good gesture they did not need to make for a 5-year-old piece of hardware to give a 20% discount. That's actually kind of a huge customer-friendly thing to do, and I think hats off to Roku for doing that.
I was using the original Roku player in our bedroom until about 6-7 months ago, when I finally was like, well, I want to have the new interface. I think it was when Sling TV came along, and I couldn't get Sling TV. That one was not compatible with the original Roku. That I finally swapped it out, but I still have it. I think I got mine in 2008.
Yeah, they're sturdy. They're like, what are they like? They're like Doc Martens shoes. You just never need another pair, and now we do.
Yeah. And then finally, a couple of more emails on the idea of setting off your device when I say its trigger word on this podcast. Joseph LeBlanc said, I have a Nexus 5, and I have activated the voice commands everywhere, which requires that you say the trigger word for Google 3 times, and now my phone knows my voice, and Tom cannot add things to my to-do list. So he's suggesting for people who have this problem with this or other podcasts, you might want to look into that. And then Eric says he loves his Moto X because he's never had accidental voice activation. He writes, voice activation even works in a cup holder with a car full of kids and music playing, but only for me. I am able to interact with the phone while kids are being loud and stupid while changing songs.
Yeah, I'd heard the Moto X was good at that, but it's interesting. I'm trying to imagine a case where I would want to say the keyword for Google 3 times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would get old after a while. So I think hats off to him for it. Could he maybe just make it 2 times?
Or make it Beetlejuice?
Oh, I just did it, didn't I?
I don't know.
We'll
find out.
Make it Beetlejuice.
Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com.
Just don't make it, who was the guy that shot bees out of his mouth? Don't make it Candyman. You say that 3 times, we're all in trouble.
Don't say it again. Don't say Candyman again. Oh, no, that's twice. All right, finishing up our What's the Word Wednesday. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Kirsten from Hot and Waiting for Fall, Texas writes, a few months back, I purchased a pair of Bluetooth headphones, the Plantronics Backbeat Fit. They have been outstanding. They have great battery life, great for working out, talking on the phone, listening to music at my desk. I could walk around and not physically be connected to a device and still listen to music and talk on the phone or even listen to Daily Tech News Show. I recently started training for my first half marathon, put these on to catch up on shows while running. your conversation with Veronica on Monday made me think of this as she was talking about having to carry her phone on walks. I use a flip belt for this and put my phone, which is a 1+1, in that belt and then put my Bluetooth headphones on. And I was so excited when Kirsten wrote this because I have the same pair of headphones and I love them. I can leave my phone plugged in the bedroom and just walk around the house doing stuff, keep listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks. I take them when I run too. I'm a Philistine, so I just put the phone in my pocket, but I don't get stuck. I don't hit the cord sometimes and unplug it anymore or anything like that. It just got the wire-free headphones. It's fantastic. My only quibble with the Plantronics Backbeat Fit is the volume doesn't go very high. So I can't vacuum and use these. And when I'm running, if there's like a garbage truck or something, I have to press pause because garbage trucks follow me around when I run something.
And the play and pause button right there on the earpiece, it looks like. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really easy. And you got a phone answering thing on one side, play pause on the other. Works really well. It tells you when it's connected and not. It has a little voice that says, headphones connected.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
then it's very soothing.
Yeah, this isn't bad. Includes a mic as well. Looks like on their website, $129.99. Probably a little less on Amazon or somewhere else. I'm in the market, so this is interesting because I've yet to find a pair of Bluetooths that sound any good.
And I probably charge them once a week. I run 3 or 4 times a week, and then I use them walking around the house sometimes, cooking and stuff like that. But you know, I just use the same USB charger I use for my Nexus 9. Plug them in, you know, for most of a morning, maybe a couple hours, and they're charged back up good for a week.
Yeah, here they are, Amazon $83.98, so a little bit cheaper there. I mean,
nice.
Nice.
So a Kirsten pick, but also a Tom pick, and you can find the rest of my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks, or be like Kirsten and send us a pick. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. I loved this show, Scott Johnson. It was really fun.
And I really liked that a lot. Not only were they were almost all topics of their own that we could have gone on about today.
Definitely, yeah.
We just always have the smartest listeners, and I love the stuff that comes into this show.
I say it all the time. Smartest listeners in show business or what a podcast business, whatever this is.
Whatever this business is.
Yeah. Give him the business. Well, and give Scott Johnson the business. Head to frogpants.com. Check out the shows. What do you got going on these days?
Oh, there's everything and all things. All the shows are killing it and doing well and having a good time. Spending a lot of time working on the myextralife.com compilation book. A reminder to those who didn't or weren't around for the Kickstarter or couldn't for some reason. Many have asked, will it be available after? And the answer is yes. We're getting real close to being finished with that thing, so very excited. Want to follow progress on that? You can follow that at frogpants.com as well. Other than that, I think the only thing I'll push is this weekend, every Saturday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time, I host a live stream of mostly gaming for 3 hours for NVIDIA, twitch.tv/NVIDIA. And it's really fun, and we have a really good time on there, so I really recommend people check that out. And for everything else, just follow me on Twitter, at Scott Johnson, as usual.
Thank you to our bosses, all the patrons who have been charged for September, or I guess for August. I hope you're getting your value worth. We consistently are working harder and harder all the time to make the show as valuable as possible, and if you can give a little value back, it means the world to us. You've changed our lives, literally. Brian Brushwood says that all the time, and it's absolutely true. Myself, Jenny, everybody involved with the show. dailytechnewsshow.com/support if you'd like to support the show. And let us know how we're doing. We always like to refine things. We're switching stuff around, trying new ideas, trying to make it better. So go to dailytechnewsshow.com/survey if you haven't filled out our survey already. It doesn't take but a couple minutes, and it means a lot to us as well. Our email address is feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 593-2459. Listen to the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on alphageekradio.com, and visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Headlines only tomorrow, and then Friday from DragonCon. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Headphones connected.
Connected.
We'll be married by then.
Power on.
On.
Battery medium. Headphones connected.
Jenny sitting there.
Jenny
Hello.
on. Titles ready.
Acer, detect.
Ace detected.
Detect.
I love that. Acer Detect.
Oh, is that one of those
Yeah.
the titles? Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Then there's Lego
Oh,
Pewter.
Lego Pewter.
You can't handle the Force touch. Wouldn't you like to be a hurler too? A hooler too?
Wouldn't you like to be a hooler too? Be a hooler.
isn't that just
Watch
great?
something on Hooler.
Hooler.com.
Lots of puns involving the word nub. Huawei or the highway.
Okay.
But I do love
How
my
many times do
propeller
we get
hat
that
is off
one?
to him.
Yeah.
Huawei or the highway?
Yeah, I mean, we get that pretty much every
Never
time we have
enough.
a Huawei story.
Never enough.
Playing with the nub. Oh,
There it was.
Dr.
It was right out
Payne.
there, and everybody took it. Push a button to barf your dog, which is just really specifically interesting.
Oh, for the greenies. I get
yeah.
it. I get it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Django. I think Sawyer's fine with them, but Django does not tolerate lots of things.
So that's those are the hot movers.
What's the word Wednesday? You forgot that one.
Oh, well, I didn't know we named our shows after the things, the events of the show.
We can. I do it on headline day.
That's true.
I submitted it. That's what.
Oh. Well, okay.
I mean, it was Dark Redeemer's idea, though.
Okay. Well, I'll leave it to you guys to pick. I support everything, although I am a fan of Acer Detect.
Acer Detect.
I like that one too. It's super.
Oh,
baseball,
fine.
but I like it. Tom hates to be about him, but I think it's a good one. to be
Me
about.
too.
I like that one.
But the main topic of the show. blah, 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 blah.
I want their new Curve, the gaming monitor, though. I know that. That thing is hot. And they're fast. The refresh rate on that new monitor is really good.
Oh, there's going to be an X-Wing emoji on Twitter.
Great.
I need a breaking news thing.
Yeah, breaking news.
There's a thing happening.
Oh, here's one. Why shouldn't copyright be infinite? Oh, geez.
What?
I don't know. I think it's one of those titles that actually means it definitely shouldn't be.
Huh?
I'm reading an article.
Oh, no. Because I read an article titled that earlier today, which
Why
was all
shouldn't
about
copyright
how
be infinite?
Copyright reduces the impulse to do creative works the longer it gets.
Yeah.
Oh, copyright.
Yep.
There is going to need to be a debate about the purpose of copyright, because I've actually had somebody from Germany dispute the purpose of copyright. And it seems like companies are starting to get more and more comfortable claiming that no, copyright is meant to ensure our business model. And they're trying to make it, and copyright has always been about protecting the encouraging making creative works. And you get an entirely different kind of copyright law if that's its purpose versus the kind of copyright law we have now, which is protecting a business model and ensuring royalties. And some people, there's corporations, et cetera, but there's also people who just believe that you should protect the right of people to make money off of their intellectual property, and that should be the underpinning of copyright. I disagree. I think you should only protect rights in a limited amount and a limited fashion, and protecting copyright should be only done in order to make sure that the marketplace for creating works is supported, and only as much as it does that, not to ensure that any one person makes as much money as possible off their creation.
I will debate you on that.
Okay.
Do it.
I mean, do you
now.
think that copyright should be made to encourage creative works, or do you think that copyright should be
Yes.
made to encourage money?
No, encourage creative works,
Right.
but also find a way to protect the rights. I don't believe that if it takes 30 years for a work to be appreciated, that the author shouldn't make money off it. So if there's a mechanism like
that's the other side, though. You're saying there should be copyright should ensure making money off of it, and that's perfectly defensible. But
I
that's
feel
not
like
what that's not saying copyright should encourage creative works.
I love Creative Commons a lot.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense? I love the ability. If Creative Commons was an infinite license, then that would be fine with me, because I can say I am fine with other people remixing and reusing and populating the creative arts. But if it takes 30 years for a book I wrote to become a movie, I want to get paid for that movie.
So you're
That's my
on the
say.
other side from me. You're saying that copyright should ensure that I make money off of what I create. You don't agree that the only purpose of copyright is to encourage creation of works.
If movie studios were homes of creative artists making small little pictures, and my work was going to be used just for the bare bones and not for making a huge profit for a movie studio and all the people who do it and everyone but me, then sure. But I feel like the world we live in right now, I don't think that. I'm trying to think of an example of a book that took 30 years to gain or be rediscovered and then made into a movie. I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue.
Oh yeah, me too.
Well, sure. That's just you making a good argument for why the purpose of copyright should be to protect the ability to make money off your work.
Yeah, I think I'm for that.
Yeah, and I'm not. I don't think anyone's right to make money off anything in particular should be protected, except in a natural way. And I believe that copyright very narrowly should encourage the creation of works, and that if we do that, we will have more created works, and that will be better for society. And that my argument is the abuses you're afraid of will go away or be severely lessened because those abuses are made possible by the current implementation that protects the ability to make money.
I think I agree with Tom. It's weirdly micro-monopolistic, the current way of looking at it, and I think he's probably right. You're basically arguing that market conditions will take care of it, which is a common argument for a lot of things like, well, let the market decide. But I actually think that's true in this case. And
it can sound a lot like hand waving, and I totally respect the other side of the argument. Totally. It's just a matter of priority.
We've had scripts sell in our household after 10 years. And if it was a 10-year limit, we wouldn't have gotten any money for those scripts. And I'm living off that money right now. So we're 100% creative arts funded family. There is no other place to go get the money in our household.
You're a beneficiary of the current system. If there were a different system, there would be a different way for you to make money that might not, my argument being, cause you to have to wait 10 years.
Example, how?
Well, I got to publish the show, so.
See?
but no, the idea would be that there would be more studios to choose from. You'd have more places to sell your work. People wouldn't want to wait for good works. You would be able to take more control of your works and make them yourself. And really, my argument, you're arguing from a personal. Let's take that part of my argument aside. You're arguing from a personal benefit, and my argument is from a social benefit. So you're saying, for me, the current system is better because it protects my ability to make money, and that's perfectly rational. That's a good argument. I'm saying I don't think it's good for the world. I think it causes fewer works to be created, and that we need to have copyright law that encourages the creation of more works, and we'll end up getting better works because of that. So we're arguing for two different purposes.
But how about an amendment to the law that protects just the commercial sale of things and allows much more leniency in the creative repopulation?
You can't do, I don't know that you can do both.
Why? If someone
you're basically saying, I want there to be more permissive copyright except for me, is what you're saying.
No, if I wrote a book and that book took 15 years to be made into a movie, I want money from the sale of that movie. But if people wanted to write fanfic about a book I wrote, or if they wanted to take the characters and bring them to life in some way, like, I'm okay with the
Well,
creative
you can already do that.
flourishing.
As the
Yeah.
author of the work, you can already assign those rights, and that's what Creative Commons
Right.
does. So what you're saying is leave copyright exactly the way it is now, and I will take advantage of Creative Commons to give people more permissions.
Right. I
don't-
like
and-
that system.
And I think this current system is way broken because I think the fact that and again, we're also arguing from two sides. You keep saying 10 years, 15 years, right?
Right.
Maybe that's the term copyright should be, right? That's a decision that needs to be analyzed and decided. I'm saying 90 years plus the life of the author is
Fair enough.
way too long.
That I
And
actually agree.
when you have a problem that you can't use works because you don't know who owns them or who has the copyrights,
Agree
it's
to that
way
too.
too long. So
Agree to
to
that
pull
too.
back on my side, I'm not saying there shouldn't be copyright. I'm saying it should be the amount of time that seems to cause the most encouragement for people to create works. And where I think we can meet is you're saying, look, if copyright was only 5 years long, I wouldn't want to write any scripts because it takes too long for them to get bought, and that would never happen. And so my belief is that we need to decide what is that appropriate amount of time. Is it 10 years?
Yeah.
Is it 15 years? Is it 20 years? What is the time that makes people say, okay, it's worth me doing this because I own the copyright long enough to be able to capitalize on it?
That is the argument that I'm making. I certainly don't think it should be 90 years plus the life of the author. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And so I'm just phrasing it from the point of view of let's make a term that causes the most works to created. You're phrasing it from the point of view of I have a script I want to sell.
Yeah.
You're just a more individualized case study.
I'm a rent-paying individual and wish to pay my rent off of creative output. And sometimes that takes 5 years or more.
And all I'm saying is if that isn't of benefit to society, you shouldn't be able to pay your rent off that. But at the same time, I think it is of benefit to society, and I think we can create a law that encourages you to want to create that work in order to profit off of it for the benefit of society. I think there's a place where those Venn diagrams cross.
I agree.
Well, we solved it then.
We have solved copyright. I'm actually just stealing all my ideas from Larry Lessig and Cory Doctorow and I can't remember his name now. Shoot. How to Fix Copyright is the
Wu? Tim Wu?
No, it's not Tim Wu, although he's a good one too.
Tim Wu is my new hero because I'm in love with the book he wrote.
Who was your old hero?
I have so
William
many heroes.
Patry. William Patry is who I'm thinking of.
Scott, you're a hero. Tom's a hero.
Oh.
Ellie's
We're
my
all
hero.
heroes.
Roger can be a hero too when he gets on the right topic.
Wouldn't Roger like to be a hero? To be a hero.
Can't believe you're making me call the show Acer.
Wait, what topic? Right topic? What does that even mean?
Hold on a minute.
I feel like Eileen when I say something to her.
You have heroic self-awareness, Roger.
Yeah,
Yes, Roger
Oh,
has heroic self-awareness.
that's amazing.
I have almost supernatural self-awareness. I just don't let people know. That's the key.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
It's like me going around saying, I know speaky English.
Oh, God.
I just do all sorts of weird, crazy stuff. Insulting. Racist. Disparaging. It also makes me want a donut.
Donuts. What?
Sounds really good right now.
I know, right? I don't know. I think I'm just have a low blood sugar and I just need something to amp it.
I'm having a similar problem. So I have to change all the margins of my book. I gotta go page by page on.
Oh,
Yeah,
feel your pain, man. That is not
I
a
don't know how
fun
it is.
process.
Like, you'll find out a formatting thing is weird.
Yeah,
Damn it.
hurts my heart.
How about life, Tom?
Material or
No, I mean, like, how about the life of the author?
Again, my premise is whatever causes the most high quality works to be created. If protecting them for life makes the most people want to do it, then that's the right term. If 14 years is creates the most high quality works, that's the right term.
the problem that is really
What I disagree with is I want to make money doing this, so create a law that lets me do that. I don't think that's a valid argument. If it's, hey, if we have this law, a lot of people who create these amazing things will get rewarded and make more of them. I'm for that.
So the hard part is testing.
Yeah.
There are really smart people out there that can come up with models and say, all right, yeah, this is a good model for us to test or whatever. But the best way to test it is a very time-consuming, long, hey, let a guy live a lifetime before we figure it out.
Not as much. I mean, there have been a few studies done that just look at copyright and how it has profited under protection, certain works that have been gone out, because you used to be able to have things expire. You used to have to renew your copyright. So there's studies that are done based on that time of like, okay, the things that were allowed to go out, how did that affect the marketplace? So it's a little easier than maybe you'd think, but nobody's doing it. My biggest problem isn't that like, oh, how do we study that? If our conversation was about how do we study that, I'd be thrilled. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, oh, thank goodness. Now we're on to the actual problem. But we're not even studying it because everyone's like, oh, no, we just want to keep it whereas Mickey Mouse stays copyright protected.
Dr. Payne brings up an excellent point about my point about making it for the life of the author, which is, what if the author becomes immortal?
Exactly.
That is a loophole. Yeah, I watched Lucy last night. That is a loophole.
No eternal subsidies for immortal authors.
Right. So wait, does that mean the Bible gets like copyrighted then?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Way.
The wrinkle in.
Speaking of Huawei.
Nice one.
That was good.
Nice one.
That was good.
Okay. This was a great post show.
How far did you live from Chicago growing up? How far was that?
Like 5 hours.
Oh, okay.
4 hours, 5 hours.
There, and I was curious if she was anywhere near where you grew up.
No, I'm an hour from St. Louis, so we never went to Chicago when I was a kid. I never got to Chicago when I was in college.
Oh, wow. Just never a trip kind of place for everybody?
Nah, it's too far north.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Too far north. you guys need to like set up an expedition.
Well, back in my day, Roger.
My day.
Speaking of which, are you guys watching documentary now?
No, I'm not.
It is the funniest, most beautifully written show that I have watched in a while. It's on IFC. It's Bill Hader, Seth Meyers, and Fred Armisen doing this incredible, like very high wire act of parody and satire and lovingly mocking documentaries.
It's, you know what? I didn't find it as funny as I was hoping I would from the initial.
Did you watch the one of Canuck of the North?
Yeah, that's the one I saw, and I thought it was okay.
There were a lot of amazing acrobatics being done. They mocked every single film convention that has ever been invented.
I understand that, but like it's at the same time, I don't believe. I mean, I don't know. There's aspect. I don't know what it is, but I wasn't like, oh my god, this is like the most brilliant thing.
Tell you what, this is an example where you are not my hero.
You know what? Jenny, I'm not the hero you want, but I'm the hero you need.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's very good comedic writing, I'll put it that way. So what I'm saying is, Scott, you should watch it. You should give it a go.
It's all on, I know it's on IFC, but it's on, my wife, for my birthday, got me a year subscription to Doc Club, which is like the big Sundance documentary.
Oh, cool.
Thing. And I think they're putting them on there. I haven't checked.
Probably, yeah.
I'm a huge documentary fan.
It's so funny.
Don't they riff on that, there's a really famous one where the sisters of
Grey Gardens they riff on.
That's it, Grey Gardens.
And it takes a turn. Woo! So I would watch it.
All right.
All right. And that brings us to the end of our broadcast day.
There you go. Copyright documentaries, and Roger doesn't like it.
WGEL operates with an effective radiated power of 3,000 watts from studios located at 309 West Main Avenue in Greenville, Illinois. Our studio to transmitter link call sign is WLD716. Join us again tomorrow for the very best in radio entertainment.